guys, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. That still feels like a bit of a tongue twister. Welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. I'm never going to wrap my tongue around that nice and easy. Oh, as an actress said to a bishop. Anyway, what are we doing here? We are going to do the A to Z of action figure collecting. So before we get started, first of all, a big shout out to my new Sinister Six patrons, Millie, BJ, Jay, JC, Ammo, and Zach. Not bad, Brain. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the show. And if anyone else wants to join them and make a sensational seven, my seven samurai, then you can be that extra person by going to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. And you even get a few extra bonus videos, although, I mean, let's face it, that's honestly just the stuff that I don't want to put on YouTube because it's not that good. But join anyway. So, we are doing the A to Z of action figure collecting, the world's worst salesman. What am I doing? I went to the Facebook groups, the action figure Facebook groups, and I said, guys, what would you suggest? What would go with each letter for action figure collecting? Just because I was too lazy to think of it myself. No, I'm kidding, I've got like most things, but there are some tough ones out there. So folks, here we go. After a 1 minute rambling introduction, the A to Z, I'm not filming this again, of action figure collecting, starting of course with the letter A. And A is for accessories. Something that I judge the quality of a figure against more often than not will be what accessories it comes with. Now look, let's be honest. A lot of them, you'll get all these accessories and you go, right, that's going straight in the photo box, or that's going into storage or whatever. But when you get really good ones, that just makes it feel like you're getting your money's worth. Perfect example, Deluxe War Machine. Oh, you've got the different heads. That's the biggest one for me. Different heads. Give me some display options. That's awesome. Throw in, gun firing effects. Different hands. Spider-Man's a big one. You've got to have the wall crawlers, the thwipping, and the fist hands. Different accessories can make or break an action figure. So that is a big one for A, is accessories. But that's not all. For A, we also have a huge one. Articulation. How articulatable, that's not a word, is an action figure. And that's the difference between statues and action figures. Statues you can't move, but they look cool. Action figures you can play with, they're toyetic. You can be a kid and pose and get creative with them. And then you've got that middle ground. That sort of McFarlane style posable statue, what a lot of people call it, where it's clearly a design pose that it's supposed to be in, but you can rotate the head, you can even rotate the leg sometimes, but it's like, why would I rotate the leg like this? Because it doesn't fit with the rest of the contours of the body. But really, when it comes down to articulation, you've got other figures that maybe go in the opposite direction. You've got like SH Figure Arts, which some people might say, not everybody, but some might say are so articulatable. I gotta dictionary this, but it's too much. Too many joints, too many hinges, too many pegs and things going on that you're like, this figure's just a mess. So the sweet spot, in my humble opinion, and it's my channel, is actually most Marvel Legends. Hasbro have kind of cracked it. Now that we've got such lovely things as torso, sort of ab crunch, and calf swivel, and ankle rocker, the possibilities for posing are endless, and that's where articulatable, I'm going to stop saying these words, that's where articulation is so important. B is for butterfly joints. And going back to articulation, butterfly joints have been a bit of a revelation over the last few years. Since we saw and were introduced to butterfly joints, now it almost becomes a bit of a watershed kind of moment where it's like, does this figure have butterfly joints? No? Then cast it into the fires! I don't want it! I only want butterfly joints in my figures. But I understand why. For Marvel Legends, for example, we were so conditioned and used to the Bucky cap mold, not the Buffy cap mold, that's a different one. But when we finally got nice butterfly shoulders that move forwards and backwards, it just made the figures so much more dynamic for their poses, so much more interesting that you could get into like the different kind of grooves and moves. Butterfly joints are the way of the future, I'm telling you now. C is for customizing, and that's something that I am not good at. but a lot of people are fantastic at customizing, and that's another wonderful part of this kind of community and this hobby, is seeing the unbelievably awesome creations that people can put together. Myself, I would have a wish list of figures that I wish that Hasbro would make that we're just never going to see because they're too obscure, but I have talented friends who can go, don't worry, your boy's got this. So I just like throw some money their way and a few pleases and some begging, and they make me some awesome customs. And that's what's incredible. I love going onto Instagram and YouTube and seeing what these incredible customizers produce, because some of the work is just mwah, chef's kiss. Just like my custom Kane, still the best figure in my collection. Love that guy and love customizing. C is also for Comic-Con and the Comic-Con exclusives. I was wondering where I was going with Comic-Con. It couldn't just be as vague as Comic-Con. Comic-Con exclusives. And exclusive is used in the broadest term here, because normally figures that are Comic-Con exclusives are exclusive for like the month of Comic-Con, and then eventually you start to find them popping up here, there, and everywhere. I know off the top of my head, the Incredible Hulk with the pipe was a Comic-Con exclusive until it wasn't, and then you could buy it everywhere. But still, that's a fun thing to look out for. Every year when Comic-Con would roll around, back in the day when we used to have Comic-Cons and people would go to them, don't worry, they're coming back. I can feel it in my bones. Maybe even this year. I guarantee you, if there is, you better believe your boy DG's gonna be there. But when Comic-Con happens, we get the Comic-Con exclusives, and that is a fun time to keep your eyes out to see, oh, what's going to be great? What am I going to pick up? What am I going to be able to get hold of? What can I scalp online? No, I mean, what can I just get hold of for my collection? Nah, I'm kidding. We're going to get to S eventually, and when we do, oh, you scalpers are in trouble. And finally, C is for community. And at the risk of getting all mushy and sentimental here, that is one of the best things about action figure collecting, is the awesome community that builds up around these, action figures, I guess. I didn't know where that sentence was going. But when I first started collecting and I joined some Facebook groups, that's almost a double-edged sword, because I swear I have been encouraged to buy so many figures because of the people in the community talking about what they've got, talking about their collection, showing pictures, talking about what they love or what they're selling, or all the different things that are exciting people and causing this feeling of connection within that community. Also, what's been so great is that people reach out to each other, they look out for each other, they do good deals, but also outside of the action figures. Friendships build up and people get to know each other, and I swear, like, I've got some amazing friends who I will never meet, who are on the other side of the world, or even just like, you know, in a different town that I'm like, I'm drive there, that's a lot of work, and it'd be weird to actually like meet in person. It's like, well, what are we gonna do, go for a beer? Well, I guess we could do, actually. I should get out more. People are nice. Why am I such a nice relationist? I don't know. D is for diorama, and dioramas are so freaking cool. I got the not Mecca, that would be weird, a Mecca diorama. Why go on a pilgrimage to Mecca when you can just have a diorama of it? No, the NECA street scene diorama, and oh me nyah, that thing looks so cool. You can put any figure on it. I put freaking Optimus Prime in front of it, and it looks amazing. So great for when you're also, in my case, doing action figure reviews and showcases. You can have a street scene right behind them, but then we go back to the customizing as well, and gosh, some of the custom NECA, why am I saying NECA now? It's on the brain. Some of the custom dioramas that you see are just incredible. And oh my goodness, like, I see folks selling them, going back to customizing. Some of the homemade dioramas are just incredible, but they're expensive. And of course they are, because so much love and time and work and money and effort has been poured into them. So it's only fair that they get a decent price. And I'm like, I want that diorama, but I also want action figures. So when you can get, if you don't have a diorama, get yourself a diorama, because your figures look so good displayed on them. I cannot stress enough how badass they look. If you can find a NECA street scene diorama, wow, I said it right in that sentence, then go and get that, because I give that a double thumbs up. And D is of course also for derpy eyes. And derpy eyes is a real problem with action figures sometimes. And Hasbro, I'm looking at you with my derpy eyes. Because yeah, all it takes is for an eye to be a split fraction of a millimeter off, and the whole figure looks weird. There's something about our animal brains that we can tell in an instant if two eyes are not looking in the same direction. And hey, look, some folks have a lazy eye, and like that's fine. Shawn Michaels, I'm a big fan, but you know, it happens. To be honest, like I worry sometimes that I've got some nerve damage in my eye, and I see some pictures sometimes, and I'm like, that doesn't look quite right. But that's fine. So people, that's not a problem. But action figures, there's no excuse for derpy eyes. But also, it's not just if the eyes are slightly off, but it's if the eyes are kind of like dead. They look sort of derpy. It's like, wow, you're gonna go into battle, or have you just suffered a major head injury? I don't know. So D is for a big, bad, derpy eyes. And my final D is dynamic, for dynamic poses. That's something that, again, this community has been great for, is showing me showcases of how to pose figures. It sounds like such an obvious thing. Like, what, you need an instructional video on how to pose figures? Yes, quite frankly, I do sometimes. Because I just kind of like have a character like in a fairly decent sort of pose, then I'll see how someone's done like, you know, a twist in the hips, one arm down, superhero type pose, go out there, and I'm like, oh wow, that looks way cooler than anything I had before. Because sometimes you need that extra little kick to be like, oh, you can be so much more dynamic with these poses than you originally think. Sometimes I go for just like straight up just to save space, because I'm like, look, I don't have the room for arms flailing about everywhere. But if you've got the space, then look to see how dynamic you can make your figures look. E, first of all, simply is for enjoy, because oh my goodness, we enjoy this hobby of ours so much. That dopamine hit when you get your hands on a new figure, and then posing it and looking at it and putting it in a group or a team, taking photos, making YouTube videos about. It's just so much fun, so much enjoyment to be had. But that's not the only E, because E is also for envy. Oh my goodness, the green-eyed monster is so prevalent in this community. Myself, like, not in a bad way, not in like an evil, mean girls bitchy kind of way, but just in a, oh, I want what that person has so much. And I don't mean like when I see people refer to like having a wife and kids in a house and stuff. No, I'm talking about having like the Hellfire Club box set or the classic cover Spawn figure. You know, actually important things that I don't have that I really want. Or like the Select Watcher, but now I'm gonna get it. Oh, finally. So envy is a huge thing. And it's true, and it's real, and it's not a bad thing. Because very often if I'm feeling envy of what someone has, it means I also kind of feel happy for them, that like, I'm glad you got that, because you're a good brother, and it means you've got a good collection. But it also encourages you to spend more money. So yeah, envy's kind of good, and it's kind of evil. It's envy. And the final E is exclusive. And that's something that people in the UK don't have to worry about. For now. Exclusives are usually, when we think about America, you have Target exclusives, or it used to be Toys R Us exclusives, but you know, my mind has wandered now. Walgreens exclusives. So you have to go to that store to get that figure, and that must suck. You know what we do in the UK when we want a figure? Go online and order it. I know, this is not B for bragging, all right? And also, I don't wanna, you know, a pat on the back is only a foot away from a kick in the pants, because Hasbro Pulse has just launched in the UK, and I get a horrible feeling that figures are gonna start to become Hasbro Pulse exclusives in the UK, and we won't be able to get them. I don't like exclusives. I think it's a bad thing for customers. Maybe it's good for retailers to try and like edge out the competition and get an exclusive figure, but for the customers, it means like in America, you gotta go on toy hunts, you gotta hide figures under shelves, you get people scalping them off. It sucks. So by all means, if you think exclusives are a good thing, explain to me why they're a good thing and educate me, because I'm always happy to be proven wrong. But honestly, every time I hear exclusive, I think, oh man, that's a sucky situation for someone.
F stands for failure to remember that F comes after E. Yep, I go straight on to G. Don't quite know how I managed that one. But while we're here, F also stands for figure. There you go. Job done. Bosh. Sorted. On to G.
G is a very contentious one because it is Grail figures, and the definition of a Grail figure. So most basically, a Grail is when someone refers to something that they are desperate to get hold of, but they just can't find. That's a basic Grail, but at the same time, it's open to interpretation. A lot of people refer to a Grail when actually what they just mean is a figure outside their price range, because that's a fair, comparison. Nowadays, in the day and age of the internet and eBay, there are very few actual Grails, because you can find pretty much anything. If there is an action figure that I want, I can pretty much 99.9% of the time just go onto eBay and I'm like, oh, there it is. It's incredibly expensive, but there it is. If I want it, I can take out a credit card and get it, which I'm not going to do. But therefore, is it a Grail if you can get it? So technically, no. A Grail should be like, even if you had the money, you can't find it. Like super rare action figures where it's like, who are the 5 Nigerian kings who own this figure? So I don't mind people using Grail more liberally. I referred to the Build-A-Figure Rhino as a Grail because even though, I could go onto eBay and buy him instantly, I couldn't find him for a price that I wanted. So maybe a Grail is the figure you want at the price you want, which actually is quite rare. Either way, Grails are a term, and very often when you complete a Grail, better than sex. Apparently. I wouldn't know, it's been too long. H is for help from the community, and oh my goodness, another reason to love this community. Everyone is looking out for each other and they're trying to help each other. The amount of times I have been tagged in sales posts where someone has just heard, randomly that I wanted something, they've seen someone else selling it and they've been, hey, DG, heads up, this guy's selling this, which just baffles me because I can't even remember what I want, let alone what other people want. Yet somehow some of you mastermind saints not only remember what I want, but remember to tag me in sales posts, which also means, in fairness, I have spent a lot of money because of people tagging me in sales posts, but God bless you for doing it because it's so worthwhile. And also, it's not just that kind of help in the community, but again, support, man. I mean, especially because I get like sort of front and center a lot of feedback from doing this YouTube channel. The amount of encouragement and kind words and nice feedback that I get, that's a kind of help in the community that means the world, because we're all going through stuff. We have good days and bad days, but honestly, if I'm feeling kind of blue, it's probably only a matter of time before I read a YouTube comment where I'm like, oh man, you didn't have to say that, but you did, and now I feel good about myself. Granted, YouTube comments occasionally inform me that my teeth are crooked and my hair's falling out, but you gotta take the rough with the smooth, because on the whole, this community is wonderful and you share the love, and I absolutely love that. I is for ideas from the community. And that is another thing, like I was saying before, looking at poses, looking at teams, looking at dioramas, looking at displays, ideas from the community. The community is just an idea factory where they mass produce ideas and ship them out to the world without any Target exclusives. I have put together so many teams with figures where I was like, I don't know what to do with that figure. And then I see someone with a team display, and I'm like, that obscure team, of course. Now I have someone to put Luke Cage and Juggernaut and Mr. Hyde, and it's like, Thunderbolts. Why didn't I think of that? Ideas from the community are fantastic. Also, oh my goodness, kit bashing ideas. We're not okay yet, but there you go. The amount of amazing little head swaps or accessory swaps that I've seen other people in the community do, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is going to tart up my figure like a horse draws. J is for gerb. And unfortunately, 2020 took my gerb. But a gerb, I'm going to stop saying that now, is what you need if you're going to be in this hobby because, oh my giddy lord, I'm looking at you, Optimus.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you were incredibly expensive.
I know, but I'm worth it.
And he was worth it. Y'all gonna need a job. Or, a sugar mama or a sugar daddy if you want to afford some of the things in this. But yeah, joint? No, that was my second J. Jobs are incredibly essential because you're going to be spending a lot of money on this. But oh my goodness, it's so worth it. It's so beautiful. And the second J, as I was preempting there, is for joints. Joints can be beautifully stiff, like this one here, or they can be very, very loosey-goosey. I have a Thanos bath, and oh my goodness, his joints are all over the place. They're not squeaky like this chair is, but like you can just shake him and it's like shake, shake, rattle and roll. So stiff joints, so good. But then you get These guys. You see these guys? Mecha turtles. Too stiff. It's like the Goldilocks syndrome. The joints have to be just right. And very often, they ain't. But yeah, so stiff joints, too much, bad. Loose, bad. Just right. That's how you want your joints. K is for knowledge. Knowledge from the community and knowledge from people who happen to know things. That's where a lot of knowledge comes from. I got into this hobby thinking like, all right, I'm just gonna collect the basic Sinister Six. Surely there must be like a box set maybe? Or they were all released in one go? Oh no, of course not. I had to go to the community and I was like, guys, where am I going to find these figures? What waves did they come out in? What years were they released in? Are they hard to find? Are they easy to find? Are they expensive? Are they cheap? Where's the best place to shop? So much advice and knowledge from the community. If in doubt, go to the Facebook groups. But also like don't be a dummy either. Don't be like, hey guys, should I buy this figure? I don't know. Knock yourself out, should you? I'm not your dad. But if it's like, guys, in your personal opinion, which figure or which version of a figure do you think is better? Do you think Legends are better? Do you think the Select is better? Do you think the Articulation, the blah, 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 blah? That's a great source of knowledge from people you can go to and say like, oh, even better, if you're like, I'm thinking of buying a SH Figure Arts figure. Does anyone have them? Are they decent? Are they worth the money? Then you get some good knowledge. Of course, amongst all the wise men, you're gonna find some wise guys. And there's always people who are happy to share their knowledge with you, even if you don't want them to. But on the whole, it's great to go to the community and pick the brains of people who are only too happy to talk action figures. And K, of course, as I alluded to earlier, is for kit bash. And who doesn't love a good kit bash? I've made several kit bash videos because it's just such a fun little thing, especially for folks who don't really have any customizing skills either. I would love to do more customizing, but I just don't have the patience to learn how to do it. Because I mean, let's face it, anyone can learn if they dedicate themselves, but I'm just not dedicated. It's simple as that. I'm impatient. I want things now! So if I can do a kit bash, that's the most fun. And that's where Hasbro Marvel Legends excel so much. The fact that all the figures fit a uniform kind of standard, that means heads, hands, weapons, of course not all of them, but on the whole, things can be swapped out and changed. If you have the right body, the right buck, you can do that. So you can change accessories, jackets, heads, effect powers. The kit bashing possibilities are endless and they make for some awesome figures. L is for look, and that goes back to toy hunting in the US and looking everywhere you can. And although I feel bad for folks who have to go toy hunting in the US, I also kind of appreciate it must be kind of a fun thrill of the chase to be going around all these different locations and eventually you find what you're after, like that damn Mecha Turtles Disguise 4-pack, and you're like, yes, I have been looking and now I have found what I'm looking for. Bono over there still can't find what he was looking for, but we got it. Actually, it was it was Bono who couldn't find what he was looking for. I think he should check the Edge. The Edge probably knows where it is. Anyway, yeah, looking. You gotta look high, you gotta look low, and I learned recently in America, you gotta look under the panels as well, where people stash stuff. But from what I understand, as frustrating as it can be, looking for a figure can sometimes be half the fun. Still glad I don't have to do it. L is also for line. What line is a figure from? And line can mean even like a manufacturer, like it's a NECA line or a Hasbro line or an amazing Yamaguchi line. Or you can have like a line of figures like the MCU line of figures, the comic book line of figures, the Gamerverse line of figures. Oh, why are we wasting our time with this, Hasbro? Really, why? Oh, the McFarlane Mortal Kombat line. All these different lines and so much to choose from, and I can't collect them all, but I'm gonna try. M is for mint on card, because some people like to actually keep their figures mint on card. I can't imagine that somehow. Like, how can you be so cruel to your figures, keeping them, caged up like that? You gotta set them free. You gotta have free range figures just running about the place, having a good time. But also, like, I can understand when I see people and they have their displays, their mint on card, especially like the lovely retro carded figures actually on the wall in a display in their boxes. They do look good, especially that Retro Doom. Oh my goodness, that was one of the most beautifully packaged figures. Just as from someone with a graphic design background, that kind of product design looks so gorgeous. And it makes me realize, you know what? I would never be a mint on card guy, but I understand why some folks are. N is for not for sale / trade. Sometimes someone will post a picture of something and it'll say NFS. And for ages I was like, what does that mean? I got no idea. Not for sale or trade. In the Facebook groups and whatnot, people will post pictures of their hauls or their collections. But if they don't want to break your heart, they will put NFS, not for sale or trade. Basically saying, don't go getting excited. I ain't selling these. I just want to show them off because I'm so damn proud of my figures. And you should be. N also stands for niche market. And oh my goodness, this is a 20-inch Optimus Prime figure. This is a niche product. This ain't an iPhone, people. That's what a niche product is. Not everyone is gonna want one of these, but for those of us who do, this big bastard is priceless. And that's what we also appreciate being collectors and whatnot. Sometimes a price point might be quite high, or sometimes we get annoyed with kind of marketing practices that manufacturers use. But at the same time, I think we kind of appreciate that, like, there's a reason they have to kind of try and increase their profits wherever they can do, because this is a niche market. This is a niche of a niche. It feels like it's not sometimes because we're so into it. I mean, I know I am. You're watching some schmuck on YouTube talk about action figures, so you're probably a niche person too. But sometimes we forget that, like, this represents a micro fraction of the overall, like, economic big picture of not just everything, not just toys, but action figures. But for those small niche of us that love these things so much, oh my goodness, we freaking adore them. O is for, first of all, online, where I purchase most of my new figures. I love brick and mortar shops. I love mooching around brick and mortar shops, but I'm living in the middle of the countryside. There ain't no action figure shops around here, so I buy most of my stuff online, normally from Comics and Cocktails, or if I'm feeling a little saucy, I'll go onto eBay and get some old classic things, but online is where I do most of my ordering. Also, O is for, what did I write there? Out of stock. Nothing sadder to see. But it's a thing that we got to deal with. Sometimes things will be out of stock. Actually, someone commented recently that the Watcher that went out for pre-order recently is already out of stock in some of the places where they've checked to try and pre-order it. So out of stock is, it's a nail biter, but it does happen. There's a lot of things that I'm currently after where, or more to the point, not that I'm currently after, but that I will buy because I know that it might become out of stock, and that's when I will want it. Perfect example is Retro Rogue. I didn't need Retro Rogue, I had Juggernaut Wave Rogue, and when she came out I was like, nah, I don't need her. And then I just saw online that she was out of stock, and I was like, she's out of stock? You mean I can't have her even if I wanted her? But I absolutely must have her now. It's bonkers. I'm bonkers, but I wouldn't change. What was I talking about? Out of stock. P is for prototypes, unreleased concept figures. I ain't seen many of them, but there are actually some interesting YouTube videos that I remember sort of skimming through and going, oh yes, it's interesting. So go onto YouTube, and there are some people who have made, go onto YouTube, you're here on YouTube, and have a look at some of the videos people have made of unreleased prototype figures. There have been certain magazines and things that have shown like previews of what's to come, especially in the Toy Biz era, where they were saying like, oh, these figures are coming out, and then they just never came out. They were prototypes that eventually at some point in production, the company went, nah, we're not gonna do these. Actually, there is a video that is like just listing all the prototypes. I watched a bit of it, but then I was like, I'm interested in the subject matter, but this guy's not gripping me. And to be honest, like, I don't grip people either sometimes. I'm an acquired taste. What were we talking about? Prototypes. Yes, they're cool, they're interesting. I got no idea which ones they are there. I'm rambling now. Next letter. P is also for pricing. Sometimes prices go up, and they don't go down. I was about to say sometimes they go up and sometimes they go down. No, they don't. They just go up. It's very rare, actually. I was just thinking the price will go down sometimes. If you get like a peg warmer, a figure that people don't want, you can sometimes pick it up really cheap. But generally, and especially this year, 2021, the year of our Lord, Hasbro Marvel Legends are going to be going up in price. I think they might have gone up in the States already. I think in the autumn in the UK, they're going to be going up by like £1 or so. And just, hey, it happens. It's commerce, it's finances. It'd be nice if my wages went up. They don't. But still, it's not going to stop me buying the figures because what else am I doing with my life? P is also for pre-order. And if you don't want to miss out, then that's the road to go down. But it's a tricky one because a lot of places, they ask you to pre-order with like 80 or 90% of the overall price. And it's like, geez Louise, this figure isn't going to come out for like 6 months. You want me to give you all this money? Just you can sit on it and earn interest in that time? Get out of here. At the same time though, I do want it. So here you go. And that's the tricky thing with pre-orders. At least you pay for peace of mind. You're like, okay, it's pre-ordered. When that guy comes out, I've got him secured, and that's why pre-ordering isn't too bad of a thing. P is also for paint rub. Going back to customizing, that's something that customizers have to be very, very aware of, is paint rub. When you're putting paint on joints, those joints are going to move and the paint is going to rub off where they move over the hinges and whatnot. That was my butterfly joint movement there. So what a lot of like the best customizers do, apparently, I wouldn't know, not being a customizer, but they will sand down the joints so that they will move smoothly with an extra layer of paint over them, thus reducing paint rub. Q is for quality control. Someone should tell Hasbro that. Nah, I'm not too serious, but I am slightly. Quality control, we're talking about things like paint blotches, misplaced eyeballs, or even things like figures having 2 left feet or their bicep backwards, and it happens. That's something where brick and mortar stores really come to their own, because you can pick up a figure and actually look at it and go like, yep, this checks out. Whereas when I order them online, I'm like, oh, I hope they picked some ones that don't have any defects, because even though things are mass produced in factories, often by machines, that doesn't mean that sometimes we don't get factory errors, and we get these kind of things where you get a figure and you're like, oh, son of a bitch. What did happen recently? I've got a Quicksilver from the Family Matters 3-pack, and his lightning bolt is all Michiganer all over him, and I'm like, could send it back. Can't be asked. Actually, that's a really annoying thing, especially with NECA, where something might break because a joint is not properly put together, and then a lot of places have return policies where once you have opened a box, you can't return it, or at least they say you can't. Wow, that's a whole other rant for a whole other video. But still, quality control can be a big, big factor in action figures. R is for repaint. And that's something that is Hasbro's bread and butter, but it's also a lot of action figure producers' bread and butter. I mean, oh my goodness, McFarlane Toys with their Mortal Kombat line. How many different versions of Sub-Zero do we need? Well, one more it would seem, every week. But repaints are a way of maximizing the money spent on making bucks, making sculpts, making figures. And I got no problem with that, because as I said before, this is a niche market, and the companies that make these things have to make their profits wherever they can do. So if they can just put a new coat of paint on an old figure and put it out there and charge full price for it, then God bless them. Because to be honest, if you do that with Spider-Man, I will buy pretty much every iteration of Spider-Man you're going to put out. Just repaint him with a different costume, I'm going to buy him, although Webman is testing me. I still haven't ordered Webman yet. I'm like, I really don't need him, but I probably will. So yes, repaints, not always that exciting, but also kind of essential for giving us the more obscure characters that there's otherwise no chance we'd get. S is for shelves. Shelves and shelves and shelves everywhere the eye can see, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to say to yourself, if you ever start collecting action figures, I'm just going to get this group. I'm going to get Spider-Man Sinister Six. I'm going to get the core Avengers. I'm going to get the Mortal Kombat cast. Yeah, good luck with that. No, eventually you are just going to need shelves upon shelves to store all these wonderful, beautiful, glorious plastic bastards, and don't even be annoyed about it, because they look so damn darn cool. I'm going to have to do another collection display pretty soon, because I have accumulated so many more figures recently, and I've done so many more redesigns and reorganizations that these shelves, they're not finished yet. As you can see behind me, this is a total work in progress, but when they are done, gonna look chef's kiss. T is for trade, and of course trading and trading figures, and that's something that actually I don't do too much. I just like sell outright or back and forth, but a lot of people will trade. They'll say like, this is what I've got to trade, these are the figures I don't want anymore, show me what you got. And that's something that's actually kind of fun because there's no monetary exchange needed. You're just like, I got these figures, I don't need them, what do you want to swap for them? So that's kind of fun, and actually maybe I should start trading more. That could be a good way of of preserving my bank account. And of course, T is for Toy Biz, the folks who started it all as far as Marvel Legends are concerned. Obviously, this is a very Marvel Legends heavy list because that's like 90% of my collection. So I'm going to label this video the A to Z of action figure collecting, but it's a heavy Marvel Legends slant. And it's Toy Biz who gave us the first Marvel Legends, and really we can credit for kind of setting the bar of quality, which often, you know, has gone down a bit, but on the whole, Toy Biz were like, boom, you're looking for this? And the action figure community were like, actually, yeah, pretty much we are. Let's go up from there. And they did. And, you know, we had a few missteps along the way, but on the whole, yeah, we've never looked back. U is for unavailable, which of course is sometimes the case. It kind of goes with sold out. I guess I didn't get any other suggestions for you. That's kind of a dubious one, but unavailable. So you're looking for a figure, nowhere has it in stock, that makes it unavailable. Yeah, I should have come up with something better for you. What can we do for you? V is for variants, and that's another one that's kind of fun. It can be a chase figure, a different paint job, a mask or maskless figure. So many different variants, and Toy Biz in particular, they love their variants. You had different colored Iron Man or Sentry with a beard, all sorts of different things. I don't think I'm wrong in saying Hasbro don't do variants so much. But again, what's the difference between a variant and a repaint? I guess a variant maybe is less easy to get a hold of. What am I trying to say? Less common, perhaps. So maybe, you know, a store might get a case of figures in, and in that case there might be one variant of a figure, and that's what gets the hardcore collectors involved, because then it becomes a chase figure. There's all these regular parts of the line, but then there's the chase figure, one per case, the variant that if you're a completionist, then you've got to get your hands on. W is for wave, a wave of figures. And again, this goes back to Marvel Legends because that's what we always refer to so often is this wave or that wave, the Mr. Hyde wave, the Bring on the Bad Guys wave, the Stiltman wave. What wave of figures are coming out that we are excited for? Of course, that applies for all figure manufacturers. You know, you can have the Batman Dark Knight's Metal wave or the Justice League wave. I don't know. I don't do DC. Get out of here. But still, waves of figures. For Transformers, you've got like the War of Cybertron rage. I need to stop talking about things I don't understand. Well, actually, I'd just quit YouTube if that were the case. Anyway, waves are great. Buy waves. You can tell I'm getting tired now. X, gonna give it to you. Y stands for why, oh why can't I stop buying action figures? I'll tell you why, because they make me so happy. Y is also for YouTube, and yeah, toss, this guy just killing the game on YouTube right now. But more to the point, it's YouTube personalities and creators that give me so much more appreciation of the hobby. I love watching the Fwoosh. I think everyone enjoys watching the Fwoosh. He's just such a nice kind of connection to see on YouTube. You'll be going through his waves and talking about figures. He's just a likable son of a gun. But then you got so many other great YouTube creators like Super Sorrel, big fan of that dude. He's an A1 quality guy. You got Brian. You got all kinds of guys. I mean, you got Shardabas Prime, who's got like 500,000 subscribers by now. Really, do you need that many subscribers? You don't. What are you doing with all of them? Send some of them my way. Come on. Let's get into what? Quintuple figures. That's going to be awesome. I don't know what I'm going to do when I hit 10,000 subscribers, but it's going to be big. I don't know. Maybe I'll streak naked through Forbidden Planet. We'll see. We don't know. Whatever it'll be, we'll do some sort of celebration for 10,000 subscribers. Either way, I wouldn't be here without YouTube, and I wouldn't be getting all the enjoyment I get from making these videos and having this model behavior community that I get to share with you guys. So yeah, as far as the action figure community goes, God bless YouTube. And Z, or Z for my American viewers, is zero. Goose egg. That's what you're probably going to have in your disposable income once you get hooked on buying these things. But that's not a bad thing, because I did say disposable income, and that's where you got to kind of like draw a line and be very sensible and whatnot and make good decisions. I buy a lot of action figures, as you can probably tell, but I do that with my disposable income, and then I've got my like little nest egg that I use for things like paying for my academic studies and all that jazz. I was going to say that I use to pay for international travel and seeing my girlfriend and whatnot, but not doing any of that anytime soon. So I have my disposable income, and that I guarantee I get paid and then it goes out the door on more action figures, leaving me with zero in my disposable income account. And you know what? I ain't even mad, because it's paying for dopamine happiness and YouTube material and good times all around. And folks, that was the A to Z of action figure collecting. My goodness, what a wild ride that was. I'm absolutely exhausted. Now I've got to edit this thing together and try and cut out all my mad ramblings. That's going to make it a short video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please click the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you really enjoyed this, then you, yes, you can get to be the 7th member of my Patreon, where you can see even more rambling nonsense videos, and also just support the community and keep those lights on and make sure that I have more money to spend in my disposable income account that I can then whittle back down to zero. It's the circle of life. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. What obvious lesser things did I miss out on that I should have included? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior. I've gone out to the forums and the Facebook groups and I've put it to the people what that's going at the end.